Hello everyone, welcome back to Clusterbmilkshake. I am your host, along with support puppet Mr. Chicken. Yes, I'm a diagnosed narcissist with antisocial personality disorder, and today we're going to talk about how to be non-reactive to a narcissistic person or anyone out there in your life, on the street, whatever, who is triggering you into responding in a negative way. Now, I'm going to be reading a few pages from Eckhart Tolle's A New Earth, and I'm going to tell you why we need to react, how our brains sabotage us into believing that we need to do so. And it all has to do with protecting our egos and the triggers that make us want to react that comes from a PTSD response from our own childhood trauma. Now, reacting is emotionally addictive. I've said in one of my past videos that we get a lot of energy off of negativity. And this goes for both of us, but some of us just live off of a pessimistic mindset, okay? So when I talk about things with the ego, a narcissistic person has a very dense ego. Everybody does have an ego, and the less of an ego that you have, the more at peace you will become. Now, our egos feed off of negative energy. This is why everybody loves watching the news, social media. It's always a us against them mentality, whether it's politics, sports, gender, or race. This is what's going on, and this feeds, even the gossip and shit, what's happening? I have to be in the know. And if you really pay attention, it's like, what the fuck am I knowing? Oh, this thing is happening to this motherfucker, and it has nothing to do with my life. But this is like, the stay-at-home mom watching soap operas. Guilty. Okay. So, what happens behind the curtain when we react? Let me read. The voice in the head tells a story that the body believes in and reacts to. So this is, I've said this before in the past, that your body, you're going to have a reaction to something that happened to you unconsciously, or it's in your subconscious mind from the past, and you are reacting to it in the present moment. This happens to me all the time. If I'm ever criticized, all I hear is my mother, or a sibling, or somebody who was important to me, when I was young, an aunt, or whatever the fuck, father. And when I hear it come out of your face, we're fighting, okay? Those reactions are the emotions. The emotions, in turn, feed energy back to the thoughts that created the emotion in the first place. This is the vicious cycle between unexamined thoughts and emotions, giving rise to emotional thinking and emotional story making. This also happens when you're ruminating about the past and your body is reacting. So nothing is actually coming out of your mouth unless you're trauma dumping on social media, making videos, smearing, or just telling your best friend over and over your story. A lot of people are addicted to chaos, addicted to gossip. The sky is always falling, so it's these thoughts that are going in their head, and they are not paying attention. They're very unconscious to these things happening and then just reacting out in life. And then it's causing the people around them chaos, okay? The emotional component of ego differs from person to person. In some egos, it's greater than others. Thoughts that trigger emotional responses in the body may sometimes come so fast that before the mind has time to voice them, the body has already responded with an emotion, and the emotion has turned into a reaction. So if you're being disrespected, somebody says something to you, and it's, for me, you say something to me, I don't even have to think. I'm not even letting myself think. I'm not even aware enough to stop, pause, really find out where it's coming from in you, asking you questions, and I'm just responding in a very mean and callous way to protect my ego. Okay? All right. Where am I? I'm still going. I'm sorry. All right. Those thoughts exist at a proverbial stage and could be called unspoken, unconscious assumptions. They have their origin in people's past conditioning, usually from early childhood. Okay. Next. I have like, my notes are written in these little stickies all over. Bear with me, okay? All right. It may be shocking when you realize for the first time that there is something within you that periodically seeks emotional negativity, seeks unhappiness. You need even more awareness to see it in yourself than to recognize it in another. So we're always pointing fingers at everybody else instead of seeing what the hell's going on with us, right? Once the unhappiness has taken you over, not only do you not want an end to it, but you want to make others just as miserable as you are in order to feed on their negative emotional reactions. Now, this is something that I would do. If I'm in a bad mood, or if you're in a bad mood, we want to get that anger out, and we're just going to attack who's ever, around, or we'll wait. We're waiting for a trigger event so we can explode all over our person. Why do we explode all over our person and not our friend or the person at work? Because where the fuck are you going? You're not going anywhere. You're going to take me being a dick. Okay? All right. In most people, the pain body is the in your body from the past. Okay? Some are more dense than others, but this is what that is, all right? In most people, the pain body has a dormant and an active stage. When it is dormant, you easily forget that you carry a heavy dark cloud or a dormant volcano inside of you, depending on the energy field of your particular pain body. And sometimes when we're not around people, a lot of people who are isolated, or they're alone, or they don't have anybody to vomit all this ugliness inside of them, they think that it was you. You were the one that was making me unpeaceful. I get to blame you because when I'm alone, I have peace. But then when we get into another relationship, it all comes back up again. And it wasn't you, but it was your triggers eating off mine, and vice versa. Okay? And you're going to do that with a new person if you don't fix your shit. Okay? How long it remains dormant varies from person to person. A few weeks is the most common, but it can be a few days or months. In rare cases, the pain body can lie in hibernation for years before it gets triggered by some event. So this is why when, for me, It could be a few weeks. If I'm with a very toxic person, it could be happening day to day. And I really do believe that it's, the person in your environment, if usually you're not triggered that much. We also have to add hormones in there, and when you are in a relationship with an alcoholic, because this is going to trigger them all the fuck time, because they're going to have no awareness to be calming the fuck down and paying attention to their thoughts. And should I really be reacting in this way? When you're boozing it up, you don't give a shit. Okay? All right. It is not so much that you cannot stop your train of negative thoughts, but that you don't want to. This is because the pain body at the time is living through you, pretending to be you. And to the pain body, pain is pleasure. It eagerly devours every negative thought. In fact, the usual voice in your head has now become the voice of the pain body. It has taken over the internal dialogue. A vicious circle becomes established between the pain body and your thinking. Every thought feeds the pain body, and in turn, the pain body generates more thoughts. At some point, after a few hours or even a few days, it replenishes itself and returns to the dormant stage, leaving behind a depleted organism and a body that is much more susceptible to illness. If that sounds to you like a psychic parasite, you are right. That is exactly what it is. Okay, so this is what happens when you are in a toxic relationship. You guys are going to be fighting all the fuck time, right? And then after the fight is over, you have no closure. The narcissistic person can walk away and just be, fuck it, I don't care, and then just fucking leave, and they don't want to talk about it. You're the one that is just brooding and ruminating, and what the fuck is going on? This is crazy town. This is crazy making. Why can't we talk about it? Well, the narcissistic person doesn't even know why they're pissed. They're blaming you, but that's not the core reason of their anger. Especially if they're a depressed person, they need an outlet to blame for their life not going the way it is. If they're having a narcissistic injury because their ego, their grandiosity is being depleted in some way. Something happened at work, somebody said something on the street, something isn't going their way, they're having a money issue or whatever, they fucking spilt spaghetti sauce on their new white shirt, whatever the fuck it is. And then they're gonna scream at you, why'd you have to make the spaghetti sauce so blah, blah, blah. They're the ones that are sloppy little fucking children. It's them, but they're going to blame you. And then this is gonna cause the psychic attack on you, and you are going to get ill. Even people who are addicted to chaos and they're creating their own chaos in their mind, they're creating sickness in themselves too. Okay. How the pain body feeds on drama. Next page. Okay, gray. Okay. Sorry, my notes. Most pain bodies want to both inflict and suffer pain, but some of the predominantly either perpetrators or victims, but some are predominantly perpetrators or victims. So you're going to have somebody's a victim in the relationship and the other person's going to attack, or one person's going to attack, you're going to react, the other one's going to be the victim. There's a lot of unconsciousness going on here, okay? So let's continue. Some couples who think they have fallen in love are actually feeling drawn to each other because of their respective pain bodies complement each other. And I did start to read a book called The Fantasy Bond. Now, this was written back in 1985, and it's talking about how the whole thing with connecting with somebody, you are reliving your childhood through this person, and the reason why you stay the devil I know. So you stay with this person, you say you love them, but you hate each other because you're reliving your childhood. This is home, and I would rather stay in this pain because you guys are feeding off of each other. It's not just one feeding off the other, but you're feeding off each other. And so you stay in this perpetual fucking hellhole. Okay? All right. Where am I going? Orange. In intimate relationships, pain bodies often clever enough to lie low until you start living together. And preferably have signed a contract committing yourself to be with this person for the rest of your life. You don't just marry your wife or husband, you also marry her or his pain body, and your spouse marries yours. It can be quite a shock when perhaps not long after moving in together or after the honeymoon, you find suddenly one day there is a complete personality change in your partner. This is not written for just narcissistic relationships. This is written for everyone. This is what happens for everyone, okay? So I'm telling you, you guys, you need to read this book, understand how your egos are fucking with you, and then we're gonna get into the dense pain bodies. Okay. To pink, next. Okay. Some people carry dense pain bodies that are never completely dormant. They may be smiling and making polite conversation, but you do not need to be psychic to sense that seething ball of unhappiness emotion in them just under the surface, waiting for the next event to react to. Didn't I fucking just say that? The next person to blame or confront, the next thing to be unhappy about. Their pain bodies can never get enough, are always hungry. They magnify the ego's need for enemies. Through their reactivity, relatively insignificant matters are blown up out of all proportion as they try to pull other people into their drama by getting them to react. I'm sweating. But this is a cool book, huh? Yeah. All right. I guess I'm not done. Getting them to react. Some get involved in protracted and ultimately pointless battles or court cases or with organizations or individuals. Others are consumed by obsessive hatred towards an ex-spouse or partner. Unaware of the pain they carry inside, by their reaction, they project the pain onto events and situations and people. Due to the complete lack of self-awareness, they cannot tell the difference between an event and their reaction to the event. To them, the unhappiness and even the pain itself is out there in the event or situation with another person. Being unconscious of their inner state, they don't even know that they are deeply unhappy, that they are suffering, because they're blaming you, the event, or the situation. All right? Next, very unconscious people experience their own ego through the reflection of others. When you realize that what you react to in others is also in you, and sometimes only in you, you begin to become aware of your own ego. At that stage, you may also realize that you were doing to others what you thought others were doing to you. You cease to see yourself as a victim. This is so important for this is the book that I read when I was married, and it was very helpful for me to be non-reactive to things in the household and the husband when he would come home and be upset about something or whatever. As you see, and then after, a few years, you have to practice and everything. And let me tell you this, when you're so used to drama and chaos going on, or just being reactive to negative people, when you start to find peace, it is going to be so uncomfortable. You are going to be so uncomfortable. You're not going to know what the fuck to do. It's like you're going to be in this walking meditation all the time, because your body loves to feed off of all this negative energy out in the world. So it's really a training process for everyone. All right. The last part. Non-reaction to the ego in others is one of the most effective ways, not only of going beyond the ego in yourself, but also dissolving the collective human ego. But you can only be in a state of non-reaction if you can recognize someone's behavior is coming from the ego as beginning an expression of the collective human dysfunction, that everybody does this shit, okay? And so it's ridiculous to take everybody's asshole behavior personally, right? When you realize it's not personal, there is no longer a compulsion to react as if it were. By not reacting to the ego, you will often be able to bring out the sanity in others, which is the unconditioned consciousness, as opposed to the conditioned. Non-reaction is not weakness, but strength. So a lot of times, we want to, if I feel disrespected, I do want to fight back. And because my reactions are so automatic, I'm going to go low and I'm going to say something really fucked up, and then you're going to be all upset. So we need to work on this. So we realize that it's our egos taking over, fucking with our thoughts, and our thoughts aren't even us. He talks about being the awareness behind the thoughts that come into our head. So we won't react. We will ask more questions, let a lot of things go because we're not taking it personally, and then being in a more peaceful place. But it does take practice, and you have to practice on other people. Okay, so I hope that was helpful. Eckhart Tolle's A New Earth, and there's so much information in here. That was just a few pages, okay? Look at all this stuff I got. All right. Have a great day. Namaste.